with like a singer, how much of the actual production itself is done at this point, or it could be nothing. Like what is it?
Yeah, like you say, it could be very little. It could be just a piano.
Yeah,
it could be a little more.
A lot of times, nothing is recorded either. It's just you play it on the guitar or piano and sing it back a little idea, and then if they feel that idea, then you can start making a beat.
Yeah, when we're presenting an idea, it's usually just on the piano or on the guitar.
It's also
play it in the room.
It's also like this in general. I think if you present an idea over the computer where you made a really fast beat and a production that is not really there, it can actually kill the idea more than bring it forward. You know what I mean? In that way, presenting it on a piano will always give it a neutral vibe. You hear what the melody is and you feel the chords, and then you can start imagining how this will sound with the production. Yeah. That gives you much
instant emotion as well, because there's a piano in the room and you're singing it and playing it.
Yeah, instead of having a Apple loop running and whatever weird sound and it sounds shit.
Yeah.
So I think that we do that, or we really have produced a good idea, like fully produced almost.
Or you could, so it's kind of it's one end of the spectrum. It's like either you've like produced a banger, or it's just chords, harmony, and melody.
Yeah. Then it's got to sound banging. Then if you're going to be in a big studio and there's big speakers and the rapper is coming in, and then you just play one big banging beat and with a vocal hook on it, then that's also a good way to go. Because they just, you feel the bass and it's like has that impact when you play it in the room.
Yeah, and obviously now he's also saying something. It's also depending on what artist you're working with.
Yeah.
If you're working with like more on the urban side, you can't really present it with the piano. That doesn't really, they cannot connect to that most of the time. I think it's harder, at least.
Yeah,
people want to have the bass going and want to have that feel.
They want the drums knocking.
Yeah, so the beat becomes more important. But if it's like more songwriter or artist that sings in a different way, then I think the piano and the guitar is. But that's another thing, another point of this aspect. Sometimes you also make an amazing song on that piano and the guitar, and when you try to make a production afterwards, it actually never comes off as good as that little small, narrowed down, intimate piano and just a vocal. You know what I mean? It's tough.
Yeah.
To beat that feeling.
Yeah, because it's so pure.
Yeah.
But then,
do you ever leave anything like that in?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
I think also if you present songs, if we're not talking about working with artists, you're actually writing for other artists that you're going to pitch to, send out. Like, here is the song. That could be sometimes a better option than making a full beat and say, "Hey, here's the song. What do you think?" You just send it. But the important thing then is like the vocal performance has to be pretty good. So you can so that will be the thing together with the piano selling the song when you send it out.
If you were pitching for DJs and stuff, then that's definitely the way to go. Like a very stripped down production, maybe just a piano, maybe like just a bass and a pad or something. Just like very, very stripped down.
Then they could make the production to suit their style.
Yes,
and you don't put any fixed ideas in their head, and they can imagine their own production over it rather than trying to like imitate their production style or something. Yeah,
it's funny. Like, again, the last guy I interviewed, he was talking about how production is kind of like a costume and could mask a song in terms of like its pure essence, and like you want to hear it pure sometimes to get a vibe, and then you could do it however you want.
Totally.
Yeah, it's just a trick to actually make something afterwards that really works for the song, even if when they hear it stripped down and everybody loves it our way. So we've been through situations where you sent it like that, and the DJ or whatever, who the producer who's going to produce it, never really gets it to where it needs to be. So it doesn't happen due to that. The song is just still amazing, but that's the thing.
We have to do sometimes we have to redo productions 2, 3, 4 times before it gets to the point where it really, really works.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's also, it's also that the thing you demo-itis, you listen to something a lot, and you hear it over and over in that how it's presented that way, and then it's hard for the brain to accept new approaches to that.
Yeah.
You will always fall back. But the old that was so good. Why isn't?
Yeah.
You've lost all objectivity. It's all
Yeah. I think you get attached, like everybody does that. You get attached to the first idea, like because you attach it maybe to whatever the emotion was in the room at that time.
Yeah.
You connect the music to the memory, and then you think that is better because you connect it in your brain. Like to somebody who never heard the song before, it might feel different.
Yeah, you become precious.
Yeah, it's even sometimes a bad idea to give artists like a off speaker bounce, whatever you say, of the song at the end of the day, where you feel like the production is really not there right now. You feel like this needs a lot of improvement, but you still give them a version at the end of the day, and they go home and listen to this and play it to their manager, and they like it, and they get used to this, and then you sit 3 days doing all these changes, working your ass off for making it better, and it actually probably is better, but they are then already used to this version. So when they hear the new version, they come back, but we think the demo had a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So not always a good idea to give stuff out to people, because it's again you're getting used to things.
Or it could have the other case would be where you send out a song in its rough state, and people say, we don't really believe in this song because they haven't heard it fully edited, like all the vocals edited to perfection and produced, and which totally changes how the song comes across.
Yeah, 100%. It sounds like you guys work really, really hard and spend a lot of time for every single song because you work out so many details. Like, how long does it take you, let's say, top to bottom, to do a typical song?
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of time.
For sure.
When you get into that thing, that's when you start really going into the details that nobody actually hears.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of time. Yeah. Well, you know what I mean? You just
this is exactly what I want to hear about. I want to hear about the details. That nobody wants to.
So you go through all the vocals, for example, see that there's all the editing is perfect. You see the breaths, all the breaths, are they naturally there and there? Just that takes a long time by itself. Yeah. And you see that all the pitch is the pitching perfect all through here now. You go through there, and the beat, and is everything on place exactly and when you add that time up, I think that is just as much time as it took to get to the place right before that, if you know what I mean. Then it's going to take as much time to do that into the mixing and finalizing it.
Wow. So the editing takes about as long as the whole songwriting, production, tracking
bouncing files, sending to the mixer, commenting on the mixes, going back. It's...
Also, redoing stuff takes a lot of time. Like, you might spend, days and days trying to get the production exactly where you think it's cool, and then they'll come back and they say, we don't really like it, and then you have to redo everything. Which is like super frustrating. And, so that can take a lot of time, and that might happen like 3-4 times.
Wow.
And then we might go in and re-record vocals, so like where we think, we didn't really nail it the first time round.
Yeah.
And then, so we go and meet again or re-record a section, or we think, we could top this chorus. And then we go in and re-record the chorus, meet the artist, fly out, meet the artist again, re-record the chorus.
And and also, when doubts starts getting into the equation, that's not a good point to be at. Where is the artist or somebody is just bringing doubts into the whole thing, and you start questioning everything all of a sudden. And, I think that's sometimes the time when you need to step away a little bit and then take a little, maybe this week we do something else. Let's visit this next week again.
Yeah.
So
everybody, I feel like we all get to this point at a certain point where we're just completely like self-doubting and we've lost all perspective.
Yeah.
It's so obsessive.
It's so obsessive, yes.
I cut you off, Sebastian. What were you going to say?
Yeah, no, I was just about to say exactly that. It comes back to things like not sending the demos out straight away from the session, because it just complicates the process and creates those doubts in people's minds. So that's why we try to keep all the experimenting and like detail work, on our side, let's say.
Wow.
And try to get it as good as possible before we send it out. So that the guesswork is like done on our side, and we don't create too much insecurity on the label side or the artist side.
Yeah, that's great. So like if you have the ball in your court, you feel like you'll have less self-doubt, basically.
Yeah, exactly. We definitely have doubts on our side, but we try to work through it, and then to the point where we both feel like it's, we both have different perspectives on stuff, and so till it gets to the point where we're both like super happy with it, then we feel confident enough to present it.
I think this is for any producer, songwriter, whatever. You always kind of in the back of your head feel like everything could be even better, if you know what I mean. Yeah. I think that's a good feeling to have. I think that you feel like, because that makes you actually want to strive to perfection in a way. But also at one point you have to just this is really good. So let's settle with this. Is what we deliver now. That's right. But you compare, and there's always like you could push things, but then there's also something like, does it really matter at the end of the day when the listener is sitting there hearing this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
It's hard to deal with that. When you've had like the amount of success that you've had, like let's say 50 million streams on Spotify, does that psych you out in terms of like giving you more confidence, more self-doubt, or is it kind of like not even come into the equation?
If you mean like if it blocks us in a way, like you're thinking
creatively speaking,
I would say the opposite.
Oh, okay.
That for me is opposite. It just creates a little more enthusiasm that you're actually seeing that the stuff you do work, and that makes you want to do more. And not for me. I don't think for you either.
No.
I mean, I think so far, we had certain amount of success, but as Decco, and are releasing our own stuff, I think that the day when you have like a worldwide smash, like a number one song that's all over, and that's when those thoughts become really tough, though. How can we? What do we do now? Yeah. And I see that with so many acts and so many producers too. That feeling is lovely, but it also creates a big like, what do we do now? Feeling.
Yeah. How do we follow up?
How do we follow this up now?
Mm-hmm. So let's dive into the kind of the production end of things. Like, how do you guys get the ball rolling usually when it comes to the production?
A lot of the times there's something there from the session which actually works, like because it just happened in the moment. And I've been trying to do more during the session so that you have workable stuff afterwards, and it takes out a little bit of the guesswork. Because sometimes it can be a problem if you just have a guitar and a voice. Like, where do you take it? And there's a million different options. And then you can have to start going through so many different approaches. And if you have more there at the end of the session, like material, then it usually comes out quite naturally, and it works organically with the song. So that's always a good starting point to have that. And then it's all about just trying out different stuff and trying out different grooves and
What kind of stuff do you usually lay down during the session itself?
Just keys and just whatever happens. You have a certain idea while you're writing, because you're in that kind of writing mode in your head. So you think, oh, this song could need this and that here. Like, you feel kind of creative. When you get into the full production mode, it's more like you're not in that songwriting mode anymore. You're not in that excited, euphoric state of creation. You're more in that, now I gotta get down in the cave and do the detail work, do the grueling, like shoveling.
You ride that wave of the inspiration of the actual songwriting process to kind of get the ball rolling.
Yeah, totally.
Sometimes you wish you could keep that feeling when everything is exciting, and you wish that you can just do. Let's say that writing is one day and this artist is there and the vibe is great, and you feel like you have something. You wish that you could just continue that and then deliver to mastering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like, let's just maybe that's something we should try at one point. You know, just see how, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just write it out.
Right? Yeah. Okay, we don't leave this room until this is ready for mastering.
A lot of coffee.
Yeah, and then live with some of the flaws sometimes. Yeah.